and edited. So be ready for that. So with all that said, let's get started. I'm going to call up first our sheriff candidates, Kyle Helton and John Mitchell. Please come up. Welcome up here, guys. The way we do this, guys, is the first, from where we're standing, the person on the right will get the first question, and we'll start, and we'll start this off. So, John, if you'll give me just a second, I'm going to get down in my seat and get the timer started. You'll have 1 minute to introduce yourself, and then we'll go to Kyle. Just give me 1 second, please.
My name is John Mitchell, and I am the Republican candidate for Giles County Sheriff's Department. I've had 22 years of full-time law enforcement experience. Got a lot of things that I've done over the years. I was SRO for right at 10 years at Giles County High School. I have 6 children, 3 of them which have been through the school system here in Giles County. I have 3 little ones that are still in the school system. So I'm very vested and very, very interested in our school safety. I hope that you'll come out and vote August the 4th and vote for John Mitchell. Thank you.
Mr. Helton.
I'm Kyle Hilton, currently sheriff, Giles County, for 16 years. Been in law enforcement 33 years, and started about 17 years for the city of Pulaski, and then, like I said, been sheriff 16 years, and I'm here tonight to ask you for your vote, and we can keep this up and be sheriff 4 more years. Thank you.
Real quick, just let me move it microphone just a little closer to you, guys. That's good, thank you.
All right, first question. We'll start with you, Mr. Mitchell. All right. Talk about the impact illegal drugs have on our community, and what would you do as sheriff over the next 4 years to deal with the issue?
Illegal drugs is a bad problem here in Pulaski and Giles County. We have a major problem with fentanyl being mixed with different drugs, and it's coming through our open borders. We can't help that, but it's a problem. We have a major interstate that runs through Giles County. I intend to try to do some kind of interdiction team, whether it be 1 person or 2, a couple of vehicles, and try to get a dog back in Giles County to be able to suffice with this. I want them to run Highway 65 or Interstate 65, Highway 64, 31, north and south. There's 166 are coming through anytime. I talked to a state trooper the other day, and he said there were a lot of them cutting off at the number 1 because they didn't want to go through the way stations. And I'd like to do something about that to combat that situation.
I agree with John. This is a nationwide epidemic that we combat every day. And there's probably not a single family in this county that hasn't been affected by the illegal narcotics. It's decades long of practice of catch and release. It's proven ineffective. And there's no doubt that drug dealers need to be in jail, and they need to be punished to the fullest extent. But with our community partners, we hope to provide education and direction, and to the majority of people who aren't, if there aren't dealers, and provide them with some resources to change their behaviors. We have 2 narcotic investigators, and we're also members of the 22nd Judicial Task Force that General Cooper has. And then we have a great working relationship with the local, state, federal agencies, as well as our surrounding county and states.
As a follow-up to this, Wednesday night, we had our circuit judges on the stage answering questions, and a couple of them made mention of the high percentage of drug cases where charges are being dismissed. First question is how frustrating is that from a law enforcement standpoint? And the second part of that is there anything from a sheriff's standpoint that can be done to rectify that? Or as citizen voters, is there anything we can do?
Kyle, you can answer that one first.
Okay. Well, it's been discouraging. Later on, I was going to say that every 5 years, it's changed, but it seems like it's getting for the worst. And, our philosophy is if they get out and they're still dealing, we'll go back and we'll put them back in jail. And we'll keep taking them to jail every time.
John?
As far as being sheriff, there's not a whole lot you can do with the judges. Now, what I'd like to do is meet with the judges after we've all, if you were to vote me in as sheriff, and meet with all the judges, try to combat this in some kind of way, come up with a plan with General Cooper and with all the judges. Because I see it a lot coming through. I've had several cases dismissed myself. And it's frustrating on the officers, not only me, but even Sheriff Helton. It frustrates him because we're out here working on this stuff every single day. You may see us driving, but we're always looking for drugs. That's what happens. That's what we're out there for, is to take this stuff off the streets. And I agree with Sheriff Helton. We do want them in jail. And I intend, if you elect me as sheriff, to put them in jail.
Very good. Changing directions a little bit. The county, the school system, and sheriff's department have worked together to place an SRO in every school. The SRO program is about safety, but has grown into a bigger role. Since both of you have experience with the SRO program, give us your thoughts on the current state of the program in Giles County schools and how SROs can be even more of an asset to our schools and our students.
Start with John.
Okay, that's a good question. Our current SRO program is very good. I work personally with several of them that are SROs now. It's a very good program. The only thing that I would like to perceive changing would be I want them to teach. I want them to teach. I taught there. Sheriff Helton taught there for several years himself. The DARE program is a thing of the past. They have some new programs I'd like to look at and get the people trained, and so we can go into schools and talk about drugs, gangs, and whatever it is they need to talk about.
Kyle. Well, we were fortunate enough to expand the SROs, and we have one in every school plus one extra one now. And when we went to schools, our priority is to secure that school. In these days and times of what's going on, I love the programs. They got a LEADS program. They still have DARE, but with what's going on in our community right now, we need to be securing the schools, and but on the flip side of that, this rapport that the SROs and that they build with these students and the staff is of utmost important. So to have that blend, I can tell you from my experience that you won't hear about the things that stop. You hear about the things that happen. But if a good SRO, if they believe in them, you'll know before it ever happens.
I could just follow up with that, please.
Yeah, go right.
I'm going to call him Kyle if you don't care. Kyle and I have been partners for a long time. We worked together for a long time. And no disrespect toward him, but Kyle and I have seen many children come through school. In fact, he has people that's working for him that was in his program, SRO program or DARE program. I have people working at the Sheriff's Department and the Police Department. So it's very rewarding when you see this happens, regardless of whether it's me or Kyle, either way. It's very enlightening to have someone to join the force and join the rank of either department or any department in that respect.
Kyle, you want to add anything else? Okay.
Let me just follow up with that because you both mentioned the training and the DARE programs and others. And what can law enforcement do as preventative enforcement as opposed to just criminal response, either in an education role or an intervention role of that sort?
Kyle, go ahead.
Okay, and I'm sure John will say the same thing. I spent a lot of time counseling with students. My door was open for them to come in, and so it was very interesting, some of the stories that you would hear and what was happening at their homes or anything. Like I said, if they believe in you, they'll come to you. I still, when my phone rings, at the office, I'll hear Officer Helton. I see some of my students out there today, and when they call the office, they don't say Sheriff Helton, they say Officer Helton. I know I had him in school. So,
John.
I get that same thing, and I agree with Kyle, is the SRO wears many hats. I mean, they do many different things, and we're not as trained for all the roles, but we have to fall into them. The main thing for SRO is to make sure they have a good working relationship with the administration. That's the number one thing, because without that, you are nothing in that school. Absolutely nothing. And it takes administration from the superintendent on down to be able to have a successful SRO program. And I want to teach the GREAT program. The GREAT program has come up with new ideas, new things from K through 12. DARE only does certain grades. I taught it a long time, but I really don't agree with a lot of the way their form goes now. But I've looked into the GREAT program, and it's very, very enlightening for what we need around Giles County.
I would like to follow up.
Sure, go ahead, yeah.
Great it's a great program, and I'm still on the SRO board, and they promote it there. But my only concern is I was in the classroom, he was in the classroom. If you're tied up in the classroom, then you're not securing what you need to be doing. If you could have somebody from the outside that could come in, like I said, if you saw what happened last week and a couple of weeks before, security's everything.
You both spoke on the drug issue we have in Giles County. So outside of the drug issue, what do you see as the biggest challenge facing the sheriff's department over the next 4 years, and how would you address that challenge?
And I think we're on John.
Many different things. Crime has gone up, especially in the last 2 to 5 years, I'd say. Our call volumes, whether it's been city or county, has went tremendously high. Presence of the police or sheriff is their first line of defense with any police officer. Show a presence. And to me, we need to add more officers. I'm not knocking Kyle about that. Kyle's tried. He's tried everything in the world, but our people need to get behind whoever's sheriff, whether it be me or whether it be Kyle. Then the money needs to be spent to add more officers in this county. There are times we don't have enough to even cover the calls. Same as the city. We don't have enough to cover the calls. But it's always about money. But you want to talk about safety, you have to spend money.
Okay.
Michelle.
One of the biggest challenges that we're seeing is recruiting and retaining. There's a lot of things that you can say that it's not a job that's really appealing that it was. When I first started, we'd have a stack of applications. We'd have 20 applications to get people persons to apply now. It's a challenge, but we want to make it more appealing. And as far as our deputies, we're a couple short, but we don't even have any applicants at this time. And that is nationwide.
Yeah.
It's not just in Pulaski and Giles County. It's a problem that's happening everywhere. And I speak to sheriffs and I speak to chiefs, and all of us are having the same problems right now.
I think we have time for one more question before we let these guys wrap this up.
Okay, let's go with this one. And this one will be a little touchy maybe. Talk about changes that have taken place in law enforcement, especially over the past several years, and how that impacts law enforcement, but in the context of the national narrative in opposition to law enforcement at times.
Kyle, we'll go first.
Well, we've seen a lot of changes in 33 years, and like I said, most of the time it's not too good, but technology has been a big problem. We have to train for the technology that the cyber, as far as child molesters, and matter of fact, we probably get 5 to 10 predator calls a week. Our CID does. Didn't know that, but our guys, they're overwhelmed with it. But we go back to SROs. A lot of reports are coming from the schools. And so it's, we are we're in an organization that we can reach out and have help worldwide with this. So, but our guys are overwhelmed with predators right now.
Mr. Mitchell.
I agree with what Kyle's saying. He's so right about the technology. But also the United States has shunned the police over the last 10 years. We've been put in the hole and we're having to dig our way out. People doesn't realize what these guys go through each and every day, whether it's me, whether it's Kyle, or any other officer that's here tonight or out on the streets tonight. It's not the fun and games like we put on to be. It's not the fun and games like sometimes you hear us talking about. We have to dedicate ourselves to each other. All we have is each other, to be honest with you. Kyle is my brother. There's 2 or 3 officers in here that are my brothers today, and they will always be my brothers. They will be my brothers till the day I die. I will never lose that friendship and that brotherhood. But there's so many things. Let's talk about the media. I'm not trying to knock anybody, but the media has killed us. They have completely killed police officers over the years and not reporting correctly. And I feel like that's the biggest thing, plus technology. We've gone along. There's a lot of technology that we're not even able to gain here in Giles County. But hopefully, eventually, we'll be able to come up to the technology that some of these big cities have. We're nowhere near that. We'll never make that. But hopefully we can do better at trying to add new things and new technology in our patrol cars and this, that, and other, dispatch by computer and this, that, and other, get away from the radio dispatch.
You like to add?
I'd like to add a little bit to what John said as far as on our introduction. I was going to say I'm a member of the Tennessee Public Safety Network because we go out, we reach out all over the state, and I've been to other states when critical incidents happen to other police officers, and my phone rings and we go running to help other police officers because suicide it's real in law enforcement. It happens quite a bit, and if we can save the police officer's life, that's. I've left my house at midnight to go to. I've been to a lot of other counties far away just to go help police officers.
Got anything else you'd like to add, John?
Kyle has done an excellent job of that. He started that back, I think, when you first became sheriff, wasn't he? I believe so. He's done an excellent job. I've called him many times. I still depend on Kyle today. In fact, I call him today. He will answer me and try to help me whatever he can. And he knows that I would do the same thing. It's a brotherhood, and we try to take care of each other.
All right, gentlemen, we're out of time. Great discussion, by the way. We will start with Mr. Helton. You'll have 1 minute
Okay.
to wrap it up if there's some.
We're fast.
Y'all are, but the time is out. It's about right now. But this is where we're still early. So yeah, go ahead and you'll have 1 minute to wrap it up, touch on anything that we didn't touch on that you'd like to talk about.
Well, there's a lot of things. We could sit up here and talk all night about it, but, our ultimate goal is to protect the citizens of this county and citizens who come through this county. I've given my life to public service. I started at 19. I got in the National Guard, and then, like I said, I've been in law enforcement 33 years. And hopefully, with your vote, I'll be back 4 more years. Thank you.
Mr. Mitchell.
I'd like to thank y'all for letting us come out tonight and have a discussion all over this. I intend to, if you would let me as sheriff, do the best that I can be, or do the best that I can and to serve our community and try to, I guess, apprehend. I'm being the cop now. I want to apprehend and have people that apprehend the crooks out here each and every day. It does not matter what they do, where they come from. My opinion about somebody that breaks the law, you break the law, you're guilty. Not guilty all the time. You're guilty until, you're not guilty till you're proven guilty. Okay, all right, I'm sorry, but I got a little backwards on that one. But anyway, I want to thank everybody, and I end up in every speech that I've made here since I've become the Republican candidate. It's a great day to be a Republican. Thank you.
John, that was easy for you. That was easy for you to say, right?